Good morning, Saturday the 4th of January. Out for my long run, first long run of 2025. Hopefully I might get a half marathon in today. The last long run before Christmas was 19.5k, and in theory after a good amount of rest over Christmas I should be fine. However, that doesn't account for the fact that I've had some sort of virus. Whether it's this flu or something else, I don't really know. It's hit me in the sort of breathing a little bit, but nothing too bad. Biggest issue though is that it's given me really achy legs. So I've not been doing any weights or anything, and my runs over the Christmas period have been very easy. Deliberately deloaded for a week. But yeah, this virus has left me in a state of not being as well recovered as I like. But hopefully it'll not hold me back too much. We'll see. But my hamstring, particularly my right hamstring, is a lot tighter than it should be. But it'd be really nice to start the year at a half marathon. It's been very cold and clear in Scotland over the past couple of days. Very icy underfoot. But actually things have thawed a little bit this morning. There's been a change in the air, which actually made it worse because the air's a lot damper, and it's then made any tarmac sections really quite slippy. But we're on trail now. Much happier about that. And I've made a turn onto a section of trail that I've not seen for nearly 6 months, which is great. So let's see how we get on. Real break over the Christmas period. The runs, I did a couple of sort of between 6 or 7k runs. I also was able to visit the gym a couple of times, which is really nice. Given I usually work out at home, it's nice to just have a bit of variety. I'm feeling pretty well set up at home now, actually. I've reconfigured our spare room to move things into there, so a bit of a dedicated space. Now I've got a weights bench, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where I can get to in 2025. I reckon this year I'll run somewhere between 2,500 to 3,000 kilometres. And hopefully get the fittest I've ever been in my life. And not just running fit, work a lot more on my strength and conditioning, help my kickboxing, but just fit for life. Last year was a good warm-up. This year, just stick in a lot more and work at it consistently. Not go crazy. As ever, the big objective is not to get injured, so never push myself to that point. What that means for running today's half marathon distance, I don't know. And pace is certainly nice and easy. That's me 9.5 kilometres in, pretty much, nearly halfway. Heart rate's still in a great place, as you can probably hear from my talking. My nutrition was quite good over the Christmas period. I didn't go mad. I mean, it's all relative. Probably still ate a little bit too much, but that's all part of recovery too. We're now into dry January territory. However, I started my dry January in October. In 2024, I reckon I only had about 15-16 units of alcohol in total. What I would like to do is not have any until my 50th, and until I've run the big bit of ice, till I've run my 50 miles. We'll see how that goes. January, February are very dark months. Oh, massive bit of ice here. Even the trail shoes are finding traction a little bit difficult. Ooh. To be honest, I didn't quite anticipate it being so slippy this morning. I'm taking very small steps. Well, I'm well over halfway now. Hamstrings haven't eased at all, but they haven't got any worse. So, yeah, it all feels a lot more pleasant if they were a lot less tight. But anyway. So hopefully, half marathon distance still in the cards today, assuming nothing locks up. And then hopefully my legs will continue to ease over the coming week and be better going into next weekend. So the plan going forward is for the long runs is to keep adding a small increment every week. So I want to be adding less than 10%. So I want to add probably 1.5k per week. But that's still, by the end of February, should have me up to 30-kilometre mark again. And that's the big sort of distance goal. Also need to start getting a bit more elevation in the runs. But I've sort of replotted what I think my 50k route should be eventually, and yeah, I've added in a lot more hills to it. I mean, it's certainly nothing like what I'll face on my long run in the 50 miler, so I'll need to start venturing further afield, start running up some mountains. But at least if I can get the distance and get everything sort of feeling fitter, and yeah, just stay away from that injury zone, I'll be quite happy. A couple of smaller goals coming up. At the end of January, we're going away with a group of friends staying crane ladder. We do it every year, and my plan is to run a 24k section of the West Highland Way that weekend, weather permitting, and that'd be good. That'll be my first time in any stretch of the West Highland Way. And then in Easter, so right at the start of April, I've got a long run planned in the Lake District, so we're going to stay down there for a week for the Easter holidays. So we're staying in Eskdale, and then go run from there to Scafell, and then Scafell, Pike, and back. It's quite there's a lot of vert in it, plus some tricky ground. So that's going to be a real test. And the distance is something like 26 kilometres, but a lot more ascent. So just need to work up. But if I can be up at 30 by then, my fitness should be in a good place. This week marks the return to my yoga and kickboxing classes. So, and then my regular strength and conditioning sessions. Ooh, another slippy section. My time for today is not going to be very quick, mostly because I'm, well, sore legs. Also, there's a lot of ice. If you could see me, I'm like sort of dog on roller skates. Sliding down hills. This will all be melted later, and then we're due to get a lot of snow. Don't know if you've set any New Year's resolutions, but I've done 3. And health-wise, I really need to get even better at my diet. Since I started running, my diet is better than it's ever been, but there's still, my sweet tooth still exists, and I can resist everything apart from temptation. I know that getting my nutrition dialed down is essential for helping my recovery, fueling my runs, but also in a health and fitness point of view, I'd like to lose just a little bit more body fat. I mean, I'm already pretty lean, but my body scan results showed that losing a little bit more would be good to drop my visceral fat a little bit, which is always good for your health. The visceral fat is the fat around your organs, and it's the one that causes all the other health problems. Now, you can't just burn visceral fat, but it is the first fat to go usually when you reduce your fat. Your body will retain its subcutaneous first, as padding and insulation and things like that. Yeah, just dropping overall body fat percentage will drag down my visceral fat. Second resolution is a kind of personal one. It's just to try and crack on with a lot more of the small DIY tasks that have been hanging about for a long time. Just tick some things off. think it'd be good mentally to feel like some more bits are finished. Not that things are ever finished when you commit to doing most jobs yourself. There's never quite enough time. And then third goal is more professional related. I'd like to do more blogging and work on my own website and do more creative things with it, both writing about professional things but also running. Creative writing's such a useful habit, but also working my technical skills at the same time. Not that I ever aspire to be a developer again, but it's nice to always have it in your back pocket. But none of these are particularly going to be that hard to implement. Diet is going to be the hardest. Just I know I find it very hard to resist things at times. Couldn't make running a resolution, as I don't need any resolve to go out and run. Alcohol's not a problem. I don't really have a problem giving it up. I thought Christmas was going to be a real test of that, but wasn't even tempted. Chocolate and bread and things like that, much more difficult. That's me 17k in. Not feeling any worse in the legs. Right leg starting to get quite tired. Just plodding along. Try not to fall over in the ice. So I made the 21.1k. Definitely quite hard work on the last couple of kilometres. Right, I guess it's where I normally think of IT band pain, but I think it was just the tightness in my legs from having had the virus. But really pleased to have got the distance. So yeah, on with a little bit of strength and conditioning, but gotta just make sure I don't overdo it. Have a good weekend.